Look, there's a lot of films out there that we forget exist. It's natural. It happens. With thousands of films out there, there are bound to be some that become forgotten. You've got your Adam Sandler comedies, generic action films, and Disney films? No, that can't be. This is Disney we're talking about. They're the kings of cinema. Everything they've made is perfection, and everything they make will be perfection. Rise of Skywalker, a masterpiece. Brave, better than that crappy Inside Out. Cars 3, well, there's just no beating that. Yes, despite what many Disney Ultra fans would have you believe, even Disney films can be hit with the forgotten films illness. While Disney for decades has made classic after classic, they do have their fair share of forgettable films. So, in honor of Disney's newest animated film, Strange World, coming out soon, I thought I'd take a look back at a recent Disney film that makes people go, oh yeah, that was a thing. Ralph Breaks the Internet was the sequel to the smash hit Wreck-It Ralph. Released back in 2018 to critical acclaim, this sequel may have made a pretty good amount at the box office, but you ask anyone their opinions on it, the chances are they're going to ask you what the hell a Ralph Breaks the Internet is. So today, I'm going to take a look back at this sequel and see if it warrants people forgetting its existence.
2 hours later.
Well, that happened. Ralph Breaks the Internet, while not a bad film, is certainly not a great one either. Where the first film had so much love and admiration for old school arcade games, it felt like it was made by people that understood gaming culture and how to poke fun at it, while telling a good story with a good message. Here, they at least know the internet is a place. What should have been a very easy and fun movie that makes fun of the internet ends up being a dated and pretty boring film that's more focused on its product placements and reminding you you're watching a Disney movie rather than giving us good jokes or an interesting story. So, the gist is this. After her game breaks, Ralph and Vanellope travel to the internet to figure out how to save her game before it's scrapped for good. Now, while this is a simple enough premise that can lead to some fun ideas, it becomes quickly apparent this was more of an idea from the executives at Disney rather than from the creators. You get product placements for eBay, Amazon, Pinterest, Google, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat. If it was a thing back around 2018 on the internet, chances are Disney took their money and ran. That's not to say movies that feature heavy product placements can be bad. The Lego Movie is probably the biggest and best example of a product placement movie that still knows how to tell a good story. This is leaning more towards something like, the Emoji Movie. Now, I want to make it clear that this is a decent movie and still knows how to tell a story. But like the Emoji Movie, it gets lost in its own product placement and tries to form the story around the product rather than make the product work for the story. The internet is this vast and seemingly endless place that's filled with so many possibilities to make fun of, and instead we get a plot where Ralph bids too high on a thing on eBay, so he has to make outdated YouTube videos to get the money for it. This is from the people that made Zootopia! I know that a lot of you are saying that I shouldn't be too hard on this and that kids don't care, but I've always hated that argument, so I'm going to really tear into this movie and you can't stop me. Rather than create a story that can make a child's imagination run wild, it's constantly reminding them to use their parents' iPad to buy stuff from websites and that Disney is so cool and awesome and you should buy as much of our stuff as possible. I know people give Disney a lot of flack for this kind of stuff, and rightfully so, but why were we all duped when this came out? Moving away from the plot, this film just isn't that funny. Sure, there can be some really good jokes and clever ideas, but they're too few and far between. You have to have a really good understanding of the internet and meme culture in order for these jokes to work, but even if you know them, they aren't that funny. While I wouldn't say this is an unfunny film, I can't say it's a truly funny one either. Also, despite having characters from the first film return, most of them are replaced with these generic side characters that don't have anything to them. Who is Shanks? She's a generic badass. Who is Yes? She's the sassy tech lady. Who is Bill Hader's character, whose name I don't remember? He's the shady guy. When you compare these characters to the ones from the first film, you're missing so much life with this one. Felix, King Candy, Calhoun are such fun characters, and them having practically no presence here just leaves this film missing a lot of its charm. Okay, so I've dug into this film a lot. Is there anything of actual note here? Surprisingly, yes. Ralph and Vanellope's friendship is what easily carries this movie, and John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman are great again as these characters. The way this film explores their friendship and how their insecurities are keeping themselves from living their lives to the fullest was easily the best part, and has a really good lesson for kids about friendships and how sometimes they need to go their separate ways. It's rare for a kids movie to explore this kind of idea, and I'm happy it's here. Also, for as much as I dig into this film's depiction of the internet, the way they designed it and the way it functions is pretty cool. While it's not up to Zootopia levels of clever, I still found myself wanting to explore this world and understand how it works. The animation is fantastic as always, and the jokes that work really fucking work. This film can get some good belly laughs when it's not trying to be relatable and hip with the internet lingo, and that's where you can see the charm of the first film shine through. I appreciate how their problem is solved about halfway through, and the film shifts to exploring their insecurities, and the way it manifests is honestly clever, even if it's being very obvious with its metaphor. The Disney movies that have stuck around in the public consciousness for as long as they have did so because they were focused on telling good stories with interesting characters, not because they were trying to be hip or cool with the kids. I think because this film tried to be so modern and overly relied on its product placement and forced the writers into a corner, it left this film with a subpar plot and very hit or miss jokes. While our leads are great and their arcs are well thought out, it's not enough to keep this film in people's memories. While I don't think it's a bad film and I wouldn't have a problem if it was put on, I can't say I'm going to be seeking this one out again anytime soon.